Hey y'all tube, Donnie D here. Got a review for you today, a little departure from the e-liquid reviews that I've been doing. Boom, there it is. The Sigelei 30. Variable voltage, variable wattage mod. This thing is a beast. I am 99% certain that I am the only person in the Commonwealth of Virginia to have this device right now. They've pretty recently been released, I think the last couple of months. This is one bad-ass mamma jamma. First thing you notice about this bad boy is it's huge. This right here is my ZMAX 5 telescoping mod, and I'll show you this. If I take this thing, I usually run this in 18350 mode. If I take this thing down to where you would run it for 18650, right? Still dwarfed by the 30. I mean, this thing is freaking huge. Not sure I'm really a fan of huge mambo jumbo mods. For another comparison is, here's my Nemesis Copper. That's running in 18650 right now, and you can see it doesn't even come up to the circuit section of the 30. I mean, this thing is massive. Check this out. I'll take off my Kanger Aero Mega, which is a pretty good size device in and of itself. And here's my Copper Nemesis again. I mean, look at that thing. Look at it. I mean, even diameter-wise, this thing is just a beast. I mean, this is the circuit board container right here. This is just the top cap, and I'll take it to the mat for you guys and show you sort of what's going on here. Anyway, it's big. It is big. Let me put my my Kanger back on here, and I'm just running this Kanger on here to show you guys that even with a box stock, I've got a little bit of battery issue here, so let me get this thing screwed down. Okay, got rid of the battery rattle. Fire it up. Bear with me, and I'll show you this firing up process. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See the Sigelei logo. It tells you that we're running the SX300 chip. Now, some people were saying that this mod was going to come out with the 350 chip. Well, obviously not. This is running the 30-watt 300. Hits like a beast. Awesome flavor delivery from this thing. There's no substitute for heat. You know, it delivers the heat quickly. This is not a pulse device. It delivers all of its power all at once, right off the bat, as soon as you hit the fire button. It starts out just chucking it, keeps on going. Through a stock tank Claramizer device, you really want to be drawing through this thing before you hit it, and then draw through it after you hit it. Otherwise, you're going to put your tiny little coil and tiny little wick in some serious peril with this bad boy. Right now, I'm only running this at 25 watts. I ran it up to 28 watts. I got a little bit of wick flavor. Don't want that if I don't hit it just right at 25 watts. Then I'm going to taste wick, which tells me, uh-oh, back off, big fella. Anyway, build quality on this, really, really good. I actually dumped a Vamo V5 in favor of the Sigelei ZMAX because of the build quality. The build quality is just that tiny bit better than the Vamo. It has a single firing button, same as on this. The firing button on these two devices is identical, which is pretty much the case with all the Chinese variable voltage, variable wattage mods. You see this same button. It doesn't suffer from the same button twist that you see on virtually all of them. It does move, does rotate a little bit, but not nearly what it does on the ZMAX, and not even close to the way it did on my Vamo V5. So a little bit more solid button on this, a little bit better build quality. Everything on here is really solid. When I take it to the mat, I'll show you the threads. The threads are really nice. It's got some really neat features inside here. For example, it's got this reverse threaded locking ring. The vent holes, which are glaringly absent on here, are actually underneath this adjusting post cap. There's a post in here rather than a spring, so you have really solid contact and really solid battery capture inside. You also get an adjustable top contact, positive contact on the inside here, which I'm sure you can't see in this video, but again, I'll take it to the mat and show you guys exactly how that works. It's a slot head screw in there, so it's reminiscent of a mechanical mod in that way. You also have some really ample venting slots cut into that top cap, which you can see there. So you get plenty of airflow through your bottom fed airflow devices, such as my Squape pulls up through the bottom. So yeah, very well thought out there. Nice big 0.66 diameter OLED screen display. Another cool feature about this, and I don't know if you can see that in this light, but that screen stays on in an albeit very dim way, but it stays on to let you know that the device is ready to fire, and giving you your wattage setting, it's giving you your ohm resistance, it's giving you the battery voltage as well as the voltage at which you are running. So right now I'm running on a fairly fresh battery, so I'm at 4.1 volts on the battery, and the battery is running at 6.32 volts in the system. So pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. Gotta have another vape. And that was just a quickie. Woo, hang on to that one a little long. Anyway, just like with any sort of hyper 20 watt machine, it delivers some really great flavor. Again, no substitute for heat in terms of flavor delivery. It really takes, if you watched one of my recent juice reviews, boy, I'm almost out here. I'm still vaping the Grandmaster through this, and the Grandmaster just really comes alive, really explodes with that added heat of 25 watts. Again, no getting around it.
Okay, here we are on the mat with the Sigelei 30 watt variable voltage, variable watt mod. First thing we look at is the top cap. Here are your sort of swirled venting holes for bottom fed airflow devices. This also has an adjustable pin, if you can see that. See if we can get that in better focus. This is a slot head screwdriver, so it can be adjusted up and down so that all your devices will fit flush on top of this device. This is 24.6 in diameter, which makes it significantly bigger in every way than the ZMAX 5 or the traditional ZMAX devices. This is also 137 millimeters long as compared to the ZMAX, which is at 105. So it is quite a bit taller. So it is bigger around and taller. The ZMAX 5 weighs in at 102 grams. the 30 watt is running at 164 grams. There's a lot of heft here. It doesn't feel quite as solid in terms of its weight distribution. It's thinner walled evidently, but now this is a telescoping mod, so that's going to add some weight just sort of by virtue of this longer inner sleeve. So that's going to account for some of the denser feeling in the hand as opposed to this device, which is just a single tube. The top cap is removable, so again, take this off. It is 510 as well as Ego compatible, so you can use your Ego threaded devices. For example, this Kanger ProTank Mini 3 fits up nicely and I think looks pretty good. Screw this back on. Thread quality here, if you can hear that, very nice. I wouldn't call it exactly buttery smooth, but there's virtually no crunch to it at all. Definitely threads on very smoothly, as are these threads as well. Again, I wouldn't call this buttery smooth, but they are very smooth. Now, here's a very cool feature. This is the bottom cap, and if you'll notice, the absence of any sort of spring. This is not a sprung end cap. Instead, what it does is this unscrews, and this allows for adjustment for battery length. Now, if we take this off underneath here, we'll see that there's very long threads on there. There are your 4 vent holes in the bottom. So there's always going to be a slight gap, virtually indetectable, but a slight gap in here. Also, another very cool thing, and I'm just going to go ahead and put a battery in here so you guys can see how this thing looks when it fires up. Very short throw on these threads here. You've really only got 2 complete threads that go in here, so it's a good thing this is stainless steel, which means that it will hold up. You can see it power up, the Sigelei logo, and the indication that we're running on an SX300 chipset in this. Now, if I screw this in, whoops, we're coming out, and then I back this off, so I'm making my adjustments for the battery length. So I screw this in nice and tight, right? Well, this ring right here is actually reverse threaded. So if you can see that small gap start to appear there, that's pretty cool, because what it does is, in effect, it locks itself in place. So you screw this down, you've got a nice good connection, and you back this off, take that all the way up so that you make good contact with the battery. And it does take a little bit of getting used to these threads, but it is nice and knurled, the bottom button, so you do get a really good grip on it. So you screw that in there and set this, reverse thread. So you do have a little bit of a gap for your venting should your battery decide to outgas on you. So if we fire this device up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, we see the Sigelei logo, SX300 chipset. I think I said SX300 before, hopefully. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this takes us into the system button, or the system function. Now this has, if you see that, turns it off, bye-bye. This has what they call a G sensor or gravity sensor in it, but in effect what it is an accelerometer. So we turn this bad boy on again, and up we go. So we're running at 25 watts, which is where I have it set for the tank that I've been running on it. But if we go into the menu, we see the lock, and go back into it 3 more times. We unlock it. It goes into this screen, and then we go into the system screen. So here's how this accelerometer works. You just simply tilt it so that the gravity sensor inside is going to scroll through your power settings, and it'll either go slow at first, or if you hold it in that direction, it scrolls pretty quickly. And we'll let it go all the way up to the top and see if she round robins. I don't think she does. Nope, she stops right at 30 watts. which is actually a good thing, because if you're trying to do this quickly, you're trying to get to a set point in a range, you really don't want to. There we go. We'll take it back to 25 watts. Quick adjustment there. Take it back to that exit screen. Okay. One of the things that I'm not crazy about with this is that it's pretty much not going to fit flush in terms of the diameter. But if you look at this bevel right here on the edges, it does take it down to a really nice, attractive, aesthetically pleasing transition between these two. And these horizontal lines here tend to break up the monotony of moving from from one texture to another. So all in all, I think it's pretty attractive. Again, all your devices will fit flush by virtue of this adjustment screw here. Now, all the contacts on here are said to be brass. However, if you looked at this bottom post on the bottom where your spring typically would be, that's not brass. That's definitely stainless steel. If we look down in here, we can see that this is a slot head screw. So you can adjust this, as opposed to on the ZMAX 5, which just has a fixed screw. It's not floating, it's not sprung, so virtually no devices sit flush on there. Nice feature here. I was sort of expecting for this to be a sprung contact, because that is what is on the 20 watt, but no, it's manually adjusted, which is fine. Again, the big thing is that it fits flush. So anyway, there is your Sigelei or Sigelei 30 watt on the mat, taken apart. See if there are any other controls that we need to go through. Not really. This is pretty straightforward. Now, one interesting feature of this is that if I put, now it does give you your resistance readings, it does give you your battery voltage, but when I put a device on here, and I don't know if you can see this, yeah, there you can see, this will stay in sort of a low readout mode as long as the device is in use, until you turn it off. It's really not drawing any power. It's just barely on. But if we look here, I've got a 1 ohm build on this Omega. I haven't adjusted it so it's not sitting flush, but we're sitting at 4.04 volts on my Panasonic NCR 1860B battery. We're drawing 5 volts from the system, and we're running at 25 watts. So it brightens up when I hit it, and then drops back down to sort of this low output level, so that you can tell that the device is on and ready to go. Pretty cool feature. So you can just look at it and see that your device is on and ready to fire. Take it back to the lock screen, turn it off, and it says bye-bye. So we'll take it to the back and go through some of the remaining features, pros and cons, and would I buy this device again?
Yeah, so back from the mat with the Sigelei or Sigelei 30 watt. The cheapest I've seen these go for was, I think I saw one for $109.95. Most places that have these available, I'm seeing for around $1.50, $149, somewhere in that neighborhood. I paid $79.95 for this. Yeah, so pretty smoking deal. I was pretty stoked about that to find it. Pros and cons. Pros, well-made device. 30 watts, tough to beat. This is the highest wattage device I've used. I really like it. Not a whole lot of atomizer devices that I can comfortably use on this at 30 watts. I've run drippers on it, yeah, with micro and nano coils. If I'm hitting it carefully, I can, I can run those comfortably and really enjoy the flavor delivery. My Aspire Nautilus wants to run no hotter than 22, 22 and a half. This is really nice. This Kanger Aero Mega is really nice at 25, but again, you got to be careful with it. You want to be drawing before you hit it, and you want to continue drawing after you hit it. I have no idea how long a coil is going to last in this guy, because even being careful, that's a ton of heat to run through such a small coil. Another pro is the display, which is really bright. It's nice and big. It's easy to see. It's easy to read. All the information you need and nothing you don't. Functionally, I really like the accelerometer or the gravity sensor in this for quick adjustment. It's a novelty. It's the only device that I've ever had that does that has that feature. But I like it. It's easy to use. It's very user friendly. Yeah, that's a big plus. The threads, also a big plus. Very well machined. Again, not like melted butter, but smooth, very precise. Also, the adjustable positive contact at the top, essential. One of the real downsides of the ZMAX, all the versions have that sort of fixed cap, so very few devices actually sit flush. With just a quick slot head adjustment on this, you can make all your devices fit flush on here. The removable top ring, the compatibility between Ego threaded as well as 510 threaded devices. The bottom of this is a pretty slick configuration with that locking ring at the bottom. The knurling down here is very positive on the fingers. It's a little bit thin, so it can be a little bit awkward, but I suspect over the next few days as I vape on this consistently, that will become more intuitive. The battery adjustment being a post as opposed to a spring is also a really neat feature. It gives you a really rock solid positive connection. Cons, yeah, this really ridiculous graphic right here is the first thing that jumps out at me. I hate it. It is really sort of kindergartenish. Don't dig it. It's just screened on. It doesn't look cheap, I don't think. I mean, you guys look and decide for yourselves. I don't think it looks necessarily, I don't know if that's focusing or not, but I don't know if it looks cheap. I don't think it does, but it certainly doesn't add anything for me. If there were a way to get that off of there, I would do it. Back to pros, I really like this bead blasted stainless steel finish. Whatever the logo detracts, I really think that adds and looks very nice, particularly on a similarly bead blasted finish such as the Kanger. It looks nice. These accents in here probably could have done without those, but you got to find some way to make the transition between at least the readout, this this sort of round black space in here. Probably the biggest con for me is we go back to size again. This device is so massive. Look at that. It barely fits in the screen. Give me an 18350 tube option, will you? This thing does not have to run exclusively in 18650. In 18650, I'm getting consistently, well, all of twice, but yeah, a good solid 5.5 hours on this device at the same wattage. That's what's critical about this. Again, it hits all at once, all the same time, same hit every single time, no variation whatsoever until the battery is completely dead. I'd be just as happy if I could take an inch and a half off of this thing and run it in 18350 mode and change batteries a couple of times through the day, as opposed to having this monster in my hand or in my pocket. Yeah, just give me the option of an 18350. Of course, they're saying that they're going to release an 18350 tube for this. We'll see if they do or not. Yeah, for the price, this is really solid. It's a very fair product at a very, very attractive price point. For a 30-watt device at around $100, I'm guessing, is what most people are going to pay for it. When you're paying virtually the same money for a ZMAX or particularly a VAMO, you know, those things are typically right around that $79 to $100 range. To have a 30-watt device, that's pretty awesome. So I would definitely buy this again. And again and again. I may even buy another one. It's that good. It's that reliable. Well, I can't say reliable because I haven't had it very long. But in terms of just hit after hit after hit, awesome reliability. Really good. Attractive enough. Feels good in the hand. It feels like a quality product. It feels solid. So, yeah, I would give this right now, considering what's out there on the market, I'd give this thing a 9 out of 10. I really would. And if you gave me an 18350 option for this, I'd give it a 10. It's that good. It really is. Hey, thanks for watching. And remember, smoking, bad. Vaping, very, very good.